Hi there and welcome to my channel. This project is for the VICKI BOUTIN design team, and this week I'm going to work a project that uses, I'm going to say, quite a bit of pattern paper, and it's going to be straight layers, but it's going to create an impact on this layer. So I'm going to start in an opposite way. I'm going to start first by creating the layers of paper before I go into the mixed media, and I want something that contrasts all those beautiful rich tones to document these pictures of my kids. This is, I think, two falls back, and around my place there's a set of stairs that are filled with trees, so whenever you go down the stairs all you see is leaves falling on top of you. So I took the kids out for a walk and took a few pictures, and I want, because you see all the yellow of the trees in the back, I want something that's going to contrast and complement that really nice, and the papers in this collection are perfect for it. So I'm going to pull a little bit of the Sweet Honey, a little bit of Queen Bee, and some of the 3x4 cut aparts, because I want to bring the yellow in of the leaves, and for that I'm going to use the B side of the Sweet Honey paper, and that's the one that has the black and white color watercolor stripes. I'm going to bring the Queen Bee as my grounding paper, because it's that dark navy. That's going to be a full page, and then I'm going to go into the 6x8 and bring that craft paper that says "Hey Honey," because I think this is going to help me with the layers, and you're going to see that these are colors that are going to contrast and complement really nice. I'm staying with dark colors, but I'm bringing in that yellow that's going to make it very vibrant. I am going to back each of the pictures, one with the back of the 3x4 paper, the one that they cut apart, and the other one with the back of, I think it's called greenery, and is that paper that has all the leaves. So I'm going to choose those two papers to back my pictures. I am going to block them, like glue them one on top of each other, and you're gonna see a little trick. I want to add a little bit of dimension because I'm adding a lot of layers. I don't want lots of it, so my choice, I'm gonna add a little bit of chipboard behind the pictures, and that's gonna create a soft lift and a level between the paper and the pictures, which is what I'm looking for. And then you're gonna see, like I said, it's gonna be really straight layers. I'm gonna use a 6x8 piece of paper. I'm just gonna trim it a little bit just so that it frames the pictures and it stays longer. So I'm just gonna, I think these pictures are around 3x4, so I'm gonna say that I cut around 5 inches, maybe 4.5 inches of the craft paper from the 6x8, and I'm gonna glue my pictures right onto them, and then I'm gonna glue them pretty much to, I'm gonna say maybe a 9x5 paper of the Sweet Honey, the B side, the yellow, because I want the yellow and in the background to come, in the pictures to come. And then I'm gonna say a 6-inch by 12-inch stripe of the Queen Bee. The B side has that navy kind of bluish tone, but and you're gonna see right now I'm bringing some of the leaves that I used in last week's project. If you haven't checked them, make sure you go on it. I'm gonna make sure to link it onto this video so you can go there. And all I did was use the metallic stamp set to stamp some of the flowers on the pre-made mixed media and then embossed it. Now that I have everything in order, I'm gonna go ahead and start working on the mixed media, and I'm gonna use the pigment powders for this. And these are super versatile mediums, and I think now they are available, it'd be a great time for you to get familiar with them. So what a pigment powder is literally powdered watercolor. That's the best way to describe it. So all you have to do is mix a little bit of water to reconstitute it, and then you're gonna have watercolor. Or you can literally shake it on top of your page, and you're gonna need just a tiny little bit, because these are really highly pigmented. Now they are a little bit on the granulated side, but if you add water, it's gonna dilute. So you're gonna see that all I did is add a little bit of water on my page. I added the pigment, and then I'm just gonna mix it together. This is a foundation paper. I have not yet soiled. This is my first time using Vicky's powders. I've used other pigment powders, and I'm actually liking them. They are vibrant. So like I said, you're gonna need a very little. They are a little bit on the granulated side, but a little bit of water is gonna take care of that. But they're great. So make sure you pick up a set of the pigment powders. So what I'm doing right now is just, I'm gonna bring the tones of yellow. I'm gonna bring some orange because I used one of the orange papers to back the picture, and I'm also gonna bring green because I'm using that tealish paper behind the greenery paper behind one of the pictures. I want to bring some of those tones, so I'm going to use some of the tones from the powder pigment that pretty much resemble the same colors. And you saw me when I put the pictures on and I brought the leaves. I marked with a pencil exactly the area where everything was gonna go. So I'm just gonna add my mixed media to that space. So once I have the yellow and the orange, and the beauty of this is, like I said, think of it as powder watercolor. So you just add it, by adding water, you're reconstituting, am I saying it properly? Yeah, you just bringing it back to life. Better way to do it. And so when you add water, it's just becoming watercolor. It goes from being in a dry form to a wet form that you can move around. So I'm going to treat it as such, and once I add my powder, I add a little bit of water, I'm able to move it around. And you're going to see that I'm just using my brush for this, and this is one of the methods. Like I said, I add a little bit of water, my powder, and I'm mixing it around with my round brushes, or Vicky's watercolor brushes, and I'm loving the way it looks. I love the fact that it really looks like watercolor. I love the consistency that it went through on the paper. It did not give me trouble. Like I said, for my first time using it. And I'm gonna finish the look with some splatters. Now that I have the one side done, I'm gonna literally flip the page and start working on the other side. So here I'm gonna try a different technique, and for this I'm gonna use my spray bottle. You can see that I spray it on my paper, and then I'm literally gonna put the powder on top of it. And you're gonna see, as soon as I do that, the powder automatically kind of expands with the water, and it creates a beautiful watercolor effect. But I'm going to move it around with my brush, and then again I'm going to bring some of the orange, just because, like I said, I have some of the orange paper in this layout. So I'm going to bring some of those tones, and I'm going to bring also the teal powder, because I'm also using a teal paper, and I love the color combination. I love the way the watercolor dried, because it becomes watercolor dried. It was beautiful. It's a little bit on the chalky side, so again, it's, to me, just perfect watercolor, and you're gonna love it. Trust me, you're gonna love it. It's such an easy media to work with, and there's a lot that you can do. You can add it to texture paste, you can add it to paint. There's so much you can do. So we're gonna look into what else you can do with it in the future, but for now I'm just using it as watercolor. And like I said, I'm using those three colors. I'm adding it a little bit just to the areas where the leaves are gonna go. I'm gonna finish my look with some splatters, and I'm gonna set it aside to dry before I continue working with this layer. So when this background is completely dry, and you're gonna see that because I'm using a foundation paper, I'm able to move it around, and it's not gonna like kind of warp the paper. There was a little bit of buckling. That's because I added quite a bit of paper. I didn't prep my paper, but I don't mind that it's minimal. So I'm gonna set it aside. Like I said, I make sure that it dried, and then I'm gonna come back and start building my layout. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add that queen bee paper, the bee side, and I wanna bring some more of the shine that the leaves have, the ones that I have already stamped and fussy cut. And for that, I am actually gonna bring the metallic ink set, and I'm also gonna bring Vicky's Wildflower and Honey stamp set. I love the leaves. Those are the ones I used to create the ones that I'm gonna add, and I'm gonna use kind of the copperish tone of the metallic ink from Vicky's ink pad, and I'm gonna add a few leaves to each side where I have added the watercolor, and I'm just gonna stamp on top of it. You're gonna see that I'm gonna put pressure because the paper is adding a little bit of separation, so I'm gonna make sure that I press the stamp or the image where I'm stamping right at the edge of the paper. I'm going to press it really hard so that I get a full impression of the leaf, and I'm going to do that to the both sides where I added the watercolor. You're going to see here that there's an area where I want to kind of superimpose the leaf. So my choice is, because I don't have a mask, I'm just going to go ahead and kind of cheat a little bit by putting the leaf that I have on the opposite side on the back of it and kind of stamp of it. I don't mind that empty space because I know one of the leaves is going to go there, but I want the edges or the tips of the leaf to show. And once I have stamped it, and you're gonna see how great the inks look on dark paper. They show nicely. It's beautiful ink set. So now that I have that in place, and it's gonna take a while to set because these are pigment inks, they take a little bit longer to set than a regular water ink or a dye ink. So while that's drying, I want to add a little bit more of the metallic look. For that, I'm gonna mix a little bit of gold glaze with a little bit of the rose gold, and that's gonna give me that copperish tone, and then I'm gonna dilute it, but I'm not gonna make it completely liquidy. I'm gonna leave it with a little bit of consistency. So it's gonna be like acrylic, diluted acrylic paint, and then I'm just gonna splatter it on top of the stamped areas, and I'm gonna say kind of create a diagonal line on top of the paper. I am gonna cover the paper, but it's gonna show underneath the layers. So now that I'm gonna set it aside to dry, make sure that it's completely dry before I go into my next step. Now I'm gonna start building the layout. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue the pictures. I have curled the edges of the papers, distressed them a little bit, just because I want to have that movement kind of replicate the one of the leaves. And then I'm going to start gluing the leaves. And again, I marked already the area where the leaves that I have already embossed on the pre-made mixed media paper are going to go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to play with pretty much setting them in place, and then I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind some of them. Not all of them, just a few of them, because I want to create that movement. I folded my papers a little bit, I curled them a little bit, I distressed them with a pair of scissors, just because I want to have that movement. And I'm going to do the same by adding foam adhesive to the leaves, just to some of them. So some of them are going to lay flat on the page, and some of them are going to be a little bit lifted. And I'm going to do that to both sides. You're going to see that I'm also going to cut some of the leaves, just because if they're going to go under the paper, I don't want to waste them. So I'm going to cut them and just kind of extend the cluster of leaves a little bit. So you're gonna see in a little bit that I cut a few of them, and I'm just gonna add them to certain areas that I want to bulk up the cluster, and that pretty much all it's gonna take. Now I'm gonna bring in the rest of the embellishments just to complete this layout. I had a hard time with coming up with a title. I wanted something that was just gonna talk about what we did that day, and literally all we did was the kids had a PA day and we went out for a walk. Like I said, these stairs happened to be half a block away from our apartment, so we just went for a walk. And so I thought about it this day. It was the gold alphas, and it fit really nice in the space that I wanted. And then after that, I'm just gonna bring a few. I'm gonna play with all the embellishments, the stickers, the chipboard, some of the sticker book elements, just to create 3 clusters. You're gonna see I'm gonna add a cluster at the top right corner of the pictures, one right in the middle where the 2 pictures meet, and then one, I'm gonna say the title is gonna be my 3rd cluster. And all I did is I'm gonna add some pieces. I'm gonna play with the black and gold look of the page, and I really like this long kind of border sticker that comes in the cardstock, and I wanted to add it at the bottom of the layers, kind of a hidden layer. But when I added it, either I had to put it straight onto the page to the bottom layer, or I will have to be lifted on the yellow, and I don't want that. I want to create separation. So my choice is I'm going to glue the little strips of paper or the branding strips to the back of the cardstock sticker. I'm going to add 2 of them, and that's going to create a little bit of a lift, and then I'm just going to glue it, and that's going to create sort of I'm cheating the fact that making it look like it's a layer when it's just a sticker. After that, I added my lines of journal right underneath the title. You see my white pen, and that's about it. I love how this turned out, and it took no time to put together. And I hope you try it. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, don't hesitate to check out Vicki's products. Check out the powder pigments. You're gonna love them. Thank you guys so much, and take care. Bye bye.